The crown prince of the northern kingdom suffered from an inability to produce an heir. Rumor had it that the dragon jade belonging to the Empress of the Women's Kingdom could cure him, so he decided to sneak in and steal it. Meanwhile, the Empress of the Women's Kingdom returned from the battlefield. She planned to have an heir to secure her throne. To her disappointment, none of the men presented to her met her standards, and she refused to settle. The next day, the prince entered the Women's Kingdom with his guard. The kingdom had once been weak, but since the new empress took power, it had expanded its borders and grown increasingly strong. By chance, the empress rode by on horseback. The prince flicked a stone to startle her horse, then leaped to catch her as she was about to fall. The empress hadn't seen such a handsome man in a long time. She pinched his waist with satisfaction. At the same time, the prince failed to find the dragon jade on her, so he pretended to faint in her arms right away. He was successfully brought into the palace. However, he heard the empress announce that he would be the one to share her bed that night. The prince sat up in panic. He tried to refuse, but the empress kissed him by force and led him into her chamber. Just as he was struggling, he noticed the jade pendant hanging from her neck and immediately stopped resisting. And so, the prince lost his innocence. He stole the dragon jade while the empress was asleep and prepared to escape. However, men were forbidden inside the Women's Kingdom palace, so he had to disguise himself as a maid. Yet his tall build still drew the attention of a guard. The prince answered her questions in the softest voice he could, and then managed to leave the palace safely. His guard had been waiting for him at the market. When the prince grabbed his hand, the guard mistook him for a woman trying to talk to him and turned him down. Angered, the prince pulled off his veil. They then returned to the northern kingdom. Following the doctor's instructions, the prince bit down on the dragon jade to cure himself, but his pulse still showed he couldn't father a child. The queen believed the method must be wrong. She hung the dragon jade in a temple and ordered the prince to kowtow to it 100 times. He did as told, yet it still failed. Furious, he decided to attack the Women's Kingdom to ease his frustration. The empress suddenly began vomiting. She cancelled the order to search for men at once, as she had already achieved her goal of conceiving an heir. What she didn't know was that the prince had also been diagnosed as pregnant. He tried to explain to the doctor that he was a man, but broke into morning sickness as soon as he spoke. The queen told him that the northern royal family had a special constitution, where men shared pregnancy symptoms with pregnant women. Only then did the prince realize his infertility had truly been cured. But the next moment, the queen threw him out. She ordered him to go to the Women's Kingdom and bring back the child. If he failed, he need not return.